Hello and welcome to Mr.ClixFlix. I'm your host, as always, Mr.Clix, working every day to bring you the best Heroclix channel available on YouTube. And in today's video, we're going to go ahead and just take a brief look at some figures from the Joker's Wild set, which is new a couple weeks ago. I'm a little late to the party, I'll admit it. But just give you some thoughts that I have on the set. If you didn't notice, I didn't do an unboxing of this set, and it is because I did not win the Win-A-Brick that my venue always has for a new set. I ended up going, what was I, 5-1, and I after my one loss, I got the bye because we had 7 players, and everybody took at least one bye, so I got my bye. And then in my last 2 games, I had very winnable games. One was at against. Oh, we were playing. I should probably tell you the build first. We were playing 300 points, DC only, no possession, no resources, and then it had to be specific themes like Justice Society, Justice League, Batman Family, stuff like that. Metal Men was one of them. So my second to last match was against a very winnable Metal Men team with Alloy and Doc Magnus. Now don't get me wrong, those 2 figures are good, and Doc Magnus with like all the Metal Men is really good also. I played against a guy with that earlier in the night, and he was wrecking people's faces. I got lucky and beat him, but it was doing pretty good. There weren't too many KC pieces because Kingdom Come wasn't one of the themes, and a bunch of them, and I don't know if they did it on purpose, but a bunch of them didn't mesh with the themes that we were needing, and you could only use the same figure on 2 different teams if it had enough keywords to do it. Then after that, you couldn't use it anymore. So it was complicated, and there were a lot of rules, but there wasn't a lot of KC pieces, so there was a lot of weird things you don't normally see showing up. So I ended up losing that team, missed an opening gambit on. I was playing Justice League at the end of the night with 85-point Trinity War Batman, L.E., Green Arrow, 25-point Atomica, and 90-point Shifting Focus Superman with the Helmet of Fate object from the Wonders of the World, whatever that set was in. Superman, Wonder Woman, maybe? But anyway, so went to charge on Doc Magnus to take away his stuff because he was really important to Alloy. Whiffed with a 4. He probbed once, I missed. Well, I hit him with the first one. He probbed it, I missed. And then I had 2 other chances to hit with the prob from Batman, a theme prob, a CSA. Like, I had a ton of stuff. Still couldn't. After that one hit, I whiffed. Couldn't roll above a 4. I think I needed a 5 or 6. So then Alloy pwned Superman. And since I overextended myself, I was able to really deal some damage to Alloy. But he pretty much one-shot at Batman. That Trinity War Batman at its lower point value is good, but not as good as his higher point value. And Green Arrow is good, but he has his flaws, and Atomica is just a tie-up piece, and the fact that Alloy was giant size and could just break away was really helpful to him. So I lost that one. Then the other match was against a full-point Trinity War Batman, a KC Batman. I think that was all he had on his team. And at that point, I pretty much knew that I was going to lose the night. I could have won that match probably. But he parked himself in hindering. Again, went up with my Superman. Very hittable need. Missed. And then once they took him out, everybody else I had really was more of a ranged guy than anything, and they were hindering. So that took care of my team, and I ended up losing. I went 6-3 on the evening, which isn't bad. but didn't win. So that's why I didn't do an unboxing. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about some figures that I really liked. I think I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I got 10 figures to talk about. Some of them overlap just because of general theme. If you guys watch Married with Clix, I'm sure some of these figures will sound very similar. Jason's pretty well studied on his stuff, even though he never talks about me. I still talk about them. So he was pretty joining on the spot on some of that stuff. But hopefully I can bring you like a different outlook or something, worth your time for watching the video. So something that I felt was worth talking about is obviously Bizarro Green Arrow. He's drumming up a lot of stuff because of his trait. Me, the world's greatest archery target, and it's when an adjacent friendly character would be the target of ranged attack. Bizarro Green Arrow becomes the target instead, even if he would be an illegal target, which is big. So this is really powerful because at only 50 points, he can make sure that he takes the blow instead of your big gun or whoever it is that they're going after that might be really important. And when he is the target, that activates his special damage power, which is all across his dial. All the Bizarros have the same dial. It's just that they have different powers, specials. So Bizarro Green Arrow's special power: when Bizarro Green Arrow is the target of a ranged combat attack, which he must be if he's adjacent to a friendly character, I give him an action token to modify the attacker's attack value by -2, its damage value, its attack value by -2, its damage value by -2, or both combat values by -1. So this gets around things like, what's his name, Nighthawk Prime, where he doesn't say you can't modify stats. It's only that they can't be increased. So you can lower those bad boys all you want to really make it difficult for people to hit. I'm of the school of thought where if I can get -2 to the attack and really cripple your chances of hitting me, that's the route I'm going to take. I did another video on probabilities of hitting and perplexes and stuff like that. So go reference that video if you want to know more about that. But doing a -2 is really a big deal, and making it so that they have to attack him. If he had a little bit better than a 17 defense, I'm sure there's going to be a way to get him up there, but I'm not thinking of it right now. But he's really good. If they come up with something that is similar to this, that makes it so that they have to be the target of close combat attacks, that's going to be a big deal, because then you have chosen targets for close and ranged attacks. And then if you have like a a Superman Blue, that makes it so that they can't pulse wave, and we'll just assume that these guys are that they don't take damage from pulse wave, and we'll just assume that everybody's at 50 points. That's 150 points out of a 300-point build. A lot of it's really defensive, but you're taking things away from your opponent and really making their life difficult. So Bizarro Green Arrow is definitely, I would say, if we're gonna get one chase from this set, he's worth picking up. So the other big thing, and if you go around on any trading page or anything like that, this is the only guy you're going to see that everybody wants, and for good reason, is Jakeem Thunder, the super rare prime. Justice Society and mystical keywords. I love me a mystical keyword. 140 points, and his big deal, other than his generally good assortment of powers that he already has with his 8 range 2 targets, is his trait. And it says, you know what I'm thinking, Johnny? And it says, at the beginning of your turn, choose 2 standard powers, but only one of these powers may be defensive power, hypersonic speed, outwit, perplex, or pulse wave. Johnny Thunder can use the chosen power until your next turn. So he's a very popular pick power kind of guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I could see pairing him up with any of the 2 entities that he is eligible to take to give him impervious on top of his 18 with energy shield, so that you don't have to use one of your picks on a defensive power, you can just pick that power from the possessor. I don't think that up front he's really going to get any stats help from them, but he's going to get some use out of those powers, and then running shot, pulse wave, or whatever it is you want to do. 300 points, this guy's going to do a lot of damage, and pick a power is just oh so good. Then the next one I want to talk about is the Joker, not the haha Joker that everybody seems so good about. He's not bad. I think he's neat. I don't think he's gonna be ultra meta like people are hoping, or like even really be more than a blip. But I like the where's this guy from? The Killing Joke Joker. 140 points, Batman enemy, 6 range, single target, willpower. I'm sorry, indomitable. But the key is this guy is going to be the king of lamp style teams, and he makes it so that you can actually do that by a couple of his traits and specials, and they are all pertinent. So his first trait is it's the laughing that'll kill you. The Joker can use poison. When he does, damage dealt to the character with a lower point value is penetrating damage. Now, when I first saw this figure, I was like, man, 140 points for what you see on the dial is a lot. But once you read that first special power and that they have to be a lower point value for penetrating damage, starts to make a lot of sense as to why you would have something like that. Especially in this set, I think Geoforce might be 160 points, but Jakeem Thunder's 140 and everybody else is less than that. So he's dealing penetrating damage to everybody. His second trait is Mad as a Hatter. Other characters can't use Precision Strike when attacking the Joker. Now, the Joker on his first 2 clicks, and why this is important, has Mastermind. One of the ways to get around Mastermind, besides Pulse Wave, is Precision Strike. So when you make it so that they can't use Precision Strike, now you're dealing that damage to other people, and it's really going to come up and be a big deal. He has a special on his last click on his defense. It's a stop click and says he can use Mastermind. And he's 7 clicks long, just to let you know. Special on his damage is the Killing Joke. The Joker can use Range Combat Expert and Improved Targeting, ignores characters. When the Joker hits with an attack, hit characters are each given up to 2 action tokens. Alright, so he ignores characters for line of fire. I believe, I'm not sure, and it's in front of me. He can hit people with Range Combat Expert for a potential 5 damage and give them 2 action tokens, which is just really good to begin with. Add on top of that the penetrating poison and Mastermind. This guy's really good. And with all the figures that can carry 4, like Overdrive, Pixie, I'm really drawing a blank on some of these guys. Vanisher, like people that can carry 3 and 4 people at a time, are some of my favorite people just to begin with, given my love for the Guardians or Galactic Guardians Lockjaw. Are really important for this guy because you can carry around a bunch of 10-point guys that like the Owl Initiate, Court of Owl Initiates, and just deal all the damage to them. You can carry 4 of them, or 3 of them, I guess, including Joker. So that'd be 30 points plus his is 170, and then you got your carrier. And a lot of those guys tend to be pretty cheap. So just a thought there. I think I'm gonna try to deal with him a little bit. Maybe throw a Possessor on him to up his defense by 1 and give him Impervious on top of all that. But somebody that I'm looking out for. Basically, next figure up would be all the JSA figures, or yeah, the JSA, Justice Society. They're all good, and they're all good for the points. Like 35, 40 points is the most that they all have. Most of them do something that's worth having. Only one or two of them. Jason mentioned a couple that aren't very good, so go check out his video as well. So they're just all really good, and I think that some of them are going to be good as call-in figures also, just as a one-time thing. Like for example, the Green Arrow at 40 points. I wouldn't pick him if I'm. We're going to say that if I'm calling him in, I'm probably using an Ultron drone. I'm not going to pick him over the Trinity War Green Arrow or the LE Green Arrow. But you know, if I'm trying to call him in and use the Quinjet and I don't have a lot of points built up yet to make him stay on the field, this is a good one, and it's a 10 attack for potentially 4 damage or 12 attack for 2, or however you want to deal that out. Same thing with Hawkman here. 10 movement, 11 attack for 3 damage for 5 points basically, and he's only 30 points, so basically at the very beginning of the game you'll be able to call him in and just use him. So I think those will be really good as call-ins, on top of them just being really super good for the points. So that's the JSA guys, and I had a few of them listed, so won't bother talking about them. Another one is the Penguin, just because it was Penguin botch. This is Devil Dinosaur all over again. Plop out the Penguins, use the Penguin to buff their defense to an 18, and then use their special powers to hopefully obliterate everybody else. He's only 40 points. Really good. That's pretty much all I have to say about him. If you like Devil Dino, you'll like this guy. I'm not sure Devil Dino's points. You might be able to use them both. Let's see here. Devil Dinosaur is 100. So for 140 points, you can have 2 figures that are constantly putting people out on the field. You just need an economical way to move them around. And I'll leave that up to you guys to decide how you want to do that. Another one that I really like, and this is just for a straight up call-in figure, is the new Katana. 75 points, although, like I said, I'm using her exclusively, basically, as a call-in. So for your call-in pleasure, she has the Outsider's team ability, so she can take out a stats boost for a chosen figure. And then her one trait doesn't really matter. Neither of her traits matter because it'd be at their next turn. But she has charge and a 3 damage exploit weakness. So for just the Outsiders, it's almost worth the 5 points. And you tack on a 10 movement charge for 3 damage that's going to be penetrating. She's really good. And at 75 points, if you're running the Quinjet, you have an outside shot of keeping her on the field, at which point you would be able to make good use of her 2 traits. We'll also talk about the common Batman. Has the 120 points, so you can call him in, and that's basically how I would use him. I think Jason mentioned this guy also at Married with Clicks. But 5 damage, dual target, Batman ally, Outsiders. And then just as a hoss, give Batman a special on his attack, and he has it the whole way across his dial. Is give him a free action and choose 1. Energy Explosion, Force Blast, Incapacitate, Precision Strike, or Willpower. Can use the chosen power until he chooses again. So you can Outsiders away stat boost, pick the power that you really need, and do that. He also has Leadership, and at 120 points, he ought to be able to leadership a couple guys. So, you know, you give your Ultron drone, I'm assuming, a power action to bring them in. That power action doesn't end at the beginning of the turn phase. Hopefully you set him somewhere where you can make use of his leadership, roll for his leadership. Then hopefully you get it. You give him his free action. You pick the power you need. You outsiders away their chosen, their stats on that figure, and you use that power and you beat them in their face. This is a really good guy. The more that I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, he's pretty good. I'm not Trinity War Batman good, but in a world that's going to be soon absent of that Trinity War Batman, like in the next 6 months, this guy is going to be a reasonable replacement. And then the last guy I really want to talk about is Calculator. Yeah, the last guy that I really want to talk about is Calculator. He is the Kingpin from the Fast Forces for Superior Foes of Spider-Man for the Batman enemy team ability. His keyword kind of sucks. Society. I don't know of too many fantastic people that have that, but if you know of one, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'll be more than happy to listen because I want him to have some good guys. But he has Batman enemy team ability and Calculator, so he can copy one and has Batman enemy. Has Psychic Blast on his first 2 clicks and a special and Stealth. Then on his last 2 clicks he has Precision Strike, Energy Shield, and Outwit. So the real reason why you're paying for him is criminal contacts. Calculator and friendly characters within 8 squares are considered to be adjacent for the purposes of Batman enemy team ability. So you can replace your attack values if they're all within 8 of Calculator. And 8 squares on a board is huge if you put them in the right space. And high-level predictions, Calculator can use probability control, but only to target the opposing character with the highest point value regardless of line of fire. So what you could do if you wanted to is plant this guy all the way in the back, move your people out 8 squares, and or park them like behind a bunch of blocking where everybody's still within 8 squares. They don't have to be within line of fire of him to make use of that criminal contacts trait. So you just prod their stuff away regardless of line of fire, and they're all getting in that stats boost. And for 50 points, that's a heck of a deal. Like I said, the only thing that holds him back for me is his keywords. But I mean, at super high level play, keywords really don't terribly matter. So I think he'll be okay. I think he's going to see a lot of play. I'd like to see Kingpin make a lot of play, but I don't know. But I feel like this Batman enemy has a chance to be a big deal, especially if you're using like somebody like that Killing Joke Joker with him, and then maybe somebody with like an obscenely high like 12 attack. Like I think Shiva has one, but maybe somebody with even that's worth even less points could help with that. So those are the figures that I have from Joker's Wild that I really like. Let me know if maybe I missed something. There's some figures that you really like that I didn't mention, or if you think the figures that I picked are total crap, let me know that too. As always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to view my videos as they become available. Till next time, please remember that it's only a critical miss if you don't have probability control.